So we always hear about men being commitment phobic in the society, but what about women being commitment phobic? We don't really hear that very often, and especially from a biblical perspective. So let's talk about it. All right, this is a topic that's really vulnerable and it makes me really uncomfortable, but I have been feeling convicted to share. So I am somebody who I've realized is a commitment phobic woman. And it's very hard to say, but I had to really reflect on why I'm commitment phobic. I noticed just for as long as I could remember that the idea of marriage, settling down with one guy, and having children was just something that never really appealed to me as a woman. Sadly, I hate that I'm saying this, but the way that I imagine my life is I would be single for the rest of my life, childless for the rest of my life, and maybe having like a boyfriend or somebody like from a distance. I never saw myself living with somebody. I never saw myself having a family because, I mean, the way that I grew up with a toxic, narcissistic, very abusive family. I experienced abuse from multiple angles, and I saw my dad. My dad wasn't there in my life. My dad was sadly a womanizer and polygamous. So he was somebody that never settled down. I noticed most of the men on both sides of my family, they're polygamous or the womanizers. They tend to cheat a lot, which is really, really sad. And I internalized that like, wow, I'm not enough. And if I'm not enough for one man, why should I settle down? I also noticed in my life, I hate that I'm saying this, but I get bored very easily. And I feel very suffocated when I am in relationships. So I was really relieved when my first marriage ended with my son's father, sadly. Right now I'm going through this legal situation in my second marriage, and there was abandonment. He abandoned me, and I am looking to divorce. And I'll be honest, part of me is really relieved that he did abandon me, because I mean, it's just when I'm in a relationship, I hate that I'm saying it, but I feel so suffocated. I feel like I lose myself a lot. And I feel like I am just not me, and I have to cater myself a lot to the other person. Like, I have to compromise a lot. Again, and I get bored very easily, and I get really relieved when relationships end. That's when I realized I probably have commitment phobia, and I don't like to settle. I've realized this about myself. That's something that the Father has really been convicting me of, and I know this comes from trauma. It comes from trauma from rejection from men. It comes from my family. It comes from just seeing how the men in my life were, just, womanizing and polygamous and like chronic cheaters. It's very important, like the father's role in their child's life, both son and daughter, is actually very, very important. That's why the Bible talks about the role of the mother and the father, the man and a woman. They're different, but they're equal at the end of the day. And both roles are needed in order to fully nurture the children. Shalom YouTube, editing Aaliyah here. So I had an interesting conversation with my niece on commitment phobia, because she is also dealing with some commitment phobia, and me and her talked a lot about our family. So I had to think of it like my family never committed to anything. We had to move houses once every like year or two. We never stayed in anywhere more than 5 years, which was really sad. Even like my mom and dad's marriage, they would get married, divorce, married, divorce, married, divorce. And my dad was a womanizer, and he would, have affairs and cheat a lot. And so he was never committed to my mom, and we were never committed to living anywhere, and we were never really committed to anything. I mean, even the family structure, there was really no commitment in the family structure. There was a lot of hurt and there was a lot of betrayal. So no wonder me and her had issues with commitment. It made perfect sense just, me and her talking about it and realizing that, yeah, there was no commitment. There was no commitment in relationships. There was no commitment even in staying. And life is commitment. Life is about commitment. Like you buy a house or you rent an apartment, you're committed to a contract or a mortgage. You have a child, you are committed to take care of that child until they are an adult. You have a job, you are committed to that job until either they lay you off or you find something else. So life is about commitment. You want to do your health journey, you want to lose weight, you got to be committed to the process. You want to get closer to the Father, you got to be committed to the process. So life is about commitment.
I mean, every little action that we do in this life, we're committed to something. So it just made me think, and it really made me reflect. And hopefully that helps you out too.
And the enemy loves to break up families. That is his thing. He loves breaking up families and he loves to create trauma. What I'm doing is I am doing a lot of self reflecting right now. And I am pursuing my second divorce, but I'm not going to jump into a marriage or a relationship or anything right away. I know that I need time to grow. I know that I need time to heal. I know that I need time to really just be by myself, really learn about myself and what it is that I want if I ever were to get into a relationship or marriage in the future, because the way that our Father designed it is marriage is a covenant. It is a covenant. It's not something that you just get bored of easily and you leave. No, it's a very big decision. It's a decision that affects your life. It's a decision that affects the generations to come. So if I were ever to do that again, like, I would make sure that I would make a very good decision and pray about it for sure and take my time with this. But I know at this point in my life, I need to be alone. I actually want to be alone. I don't crave a relationship at this point in my life. I just crave being, I just want to be alone. I just want to be in peace. And I just want it to be me and the Father for a little bit, to be honest with you. And of course, my child. I'm focusing on my child as well. He is wonderful and amazing, and I'm so blessed to have him. So there was a point where I was curious to see what the prevalence of commitment phobia is in both men and especially women. It's very hard to find because commitment phobia is not a psychiatric diagnosis, but it's more of some behavioral patterns. But this is what I found so far. So it says roughly 15 to 25% of women may be commitment phobic, and men, of course, are a little bit higher at 20 to 35% of men. So it shows that millennial, I'm a millennial, and Gen Z have more of a hesitation in marriage and cohabiting and in dating and in committing. It's usually influenced by career goals, is influenced by family. Family is a really big one. That's why it's very, very important to choose the right person, because it affects you and it affects your children and the generations to come. So what are the signs of women who are commitment phobic? So commitment phobia in women often manifests as emotional or behavioral avoidance or long-term relationships, rather than simply not wanting to date. So let's talk about some of the signs. So sign number one is she may avoid talking about the future. Serious plans or even putting a definition to the relationship. This was something that, yeah, I didn't like talking about the future. I didn't like talking about marriage. It's something that I would avoid and be like, oh, let's just focus on the moment. That is a red flag. That is a red flag, so keep that in mind. She changes the subject when you ask where this relationship is going. She may keep a distance even when the relationship is serious. This one's a really big one. Number two is fear of losing independence. So I was someone in my life, I was controlled my entire life. So for me, a relationship was just an extension of being more controlled. So I was controlled by my family, and then I was going to have to be married and be controlled by this man. So for me, the fear of losing independence was a really huge one for me. So we all value freedom. We all value personal space from time to time. But this particular person may resist marriage, may resist moving in together, may resist sharing finances, may resist sharing bank accounts, and frequently says that she needs alone time or that she's not ready for commitment. I'm telling you, if someone is not ready for commitment, men, I know these women can be really pretty, okay? And women, I know these guys, our Father has created some really good looking people in this world, but don't look at the exterior of the person, look at the interior and look at long-term investment of this person. Number three, inconsistent behavior. So she can be very hot and very cold. She can be super invested in one moment and super distant the next moment. She cancels plans, she avoids labels, or delays milestones in a relationship. So number four is avoiding serious conversations. Kind of goes with number one. So she avoids discussing long-term goals. She avoids labeling the relationship. She avoids the topic of marriage, avoids the topic of family planning. She responds very vaguely to questions or about any future plans. Number five, look at her past relationship patterns. And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I have to be honest with y'all. So a lot of times a commitment phobic woman will have history of very short-term relationships. Breakups when things get serious, unfortunately, That's happened to me multiple times. Or frequent, it's not you, it's me. Yeah, I said that too multiple times. Many women express the fear of being trapped, of feeling controlled, suffocated, or losing autonomy in relationships. That's a really big one with me. I notice when I'm in relationships, I feel like I do lose myself in them. So some other little subtle signs to look out for is she's hesitant to introduce you to family. She's hesitant to introduce you to friends. She's hesitant to put a label on their relationship. She's hesitant talking about long-term plans. And she talks a lot about independence as a priority over partnership. So just keep that in mind. So a commitment phobic woman may love the connection, may love the sparks, may love how the relationship feels, how you make her feel, but she fears vulnerability and long-term responsibility of the relationship. Commitment phobia is often rooted in past trauma, as I discussed earlier, fear of rejection, or witnessing failed relationships in her life over and over. It's not just a choice, it's a lot of things that shapes her into being in that. However, y'all, if you are with a commitment phobic woman, there are things biblically that you may be able to do, especially if you're already married to this person and you have a covenant with this person. So let me give y'all some tips. So first of all, keep in mind that this is not about fixing her, but about wise counsel, and with love, of course, and growing healthy together. So the first thing I would suggest is to pray and seek the Most High's counsel and guidance. Prayer really is powerful. Pray together, read the Bible together, have other people intercede on your behalf. So that would be my number one tip. Prayer is really powerful, and people underestimate how powerful prayer is. And prayer builds spiritual intimacy and creates a safe space for vulnerability. And I'm telling you, like, I noticed in my life, like, the Father has really been, changing my heart little by little about commitment phobia and about marriage and stuff. So he can change your heart. So number 2 is open, honest, and gentle communication. So address the fear without accusing her and putting the blame on her and attacking her. Listen actively to validate her feelings. Fear often comes from past pain and from trauma. So here's an example of a sentence. I love being with you and want to walk a future together. I notice sometimes you seem hesitant to commit. Can we talk about that? So number 3 is encourage spiritual growth together. It kind of ties in with number 1 about reading. Also, reading the Bible together, praying together, as I said, really growing in this faith together. Trust that the Father will guide you as you pray and as you read the Bible together and seek his wise counsel. I would suggest maybe some coaching or some therapies, a biblical-based coaching or therapy to really understand your patterns in these relationships. The person who's outside can see things that maybe you are not able to see. So share some devotionals with her about Yahuwah's design on love and Yahuwah's design for marriage, because it truly is a beautiful thing. If you are engaged, you're not quite married to this woman yet, be patient, but also set some boundaries too. Just keep in mind, just pray, just do everything that I suggested earlier, but be prepared if you feel like this is not the relationship for you, if the Father is guiding you and telling you the answer is no, don't be with this person, possibly be prepared to walk away. And I know that's hard. But if you are married to this person already and you have that covenant with them already, don't just give up on them. Pray and just really, really be patient with them. Because, it's a lot. I know it's really hard and it's a lot, but we can't just divorce just because of something like this. There's grounds for divorce in the Bible, but it's very, very specific. I know one of them is like adultery. One of them is abandonment. I can't remember what the third one is, but there's very specific grounds for divorce and for remarriage in the Bible. And I know you may not like that because I didn't like it either, but it's something that we have to keep in mind. And, at the end of the day, his word guides me versus my feelings and my emotions about it. There's times I read the Bible, I'll be honest, I don't like everything that it says, but it is what it is. It's his word, and his word is, he's the king of my life. And also just model consistent love to her and model stability to her. Because a lot of commitment phobic women did not have that love and did not have that stability growing up. So it's a form of control for them. It's like for the first time in their life, they feel like they're in control and they want to really hold on to that control. And it's very hard. If you lived in instability all your life, you want stability in your life. So be safe, be dependable, be loving, be kind, be patient. Have the fruits of the spirit, the fruits of the ruach. Avoid nagging, avoid being really like clingy, avoid trying to control her, because that's a big thing that I notice a lot of men do with commitment phobic women, because it happened to me, and it made me just more and more distant. Show her love through service, through patience, through encouragement. So for the commitment phobic woman, what would I suggest for y'all coming from someone who is commitment phobic? Number one is self-awareness. Realizing that you do have an issue of commitment phobia and taking that up to the Father. Praying to him, really praying to him. Open your heart up to him. I mean, he knows anyway, you might as well open up your heart to him. And just tell him everything that's on your heart. You know, tell him all the traumas. Tell him everything. Tell him how scared you are to commit. Tell him that you're afraid to lose your independence if you do commit. So that's number one, is really, really pray. Number two, read your Bibles daily. I know 1 Corinthians, I know there's a love chapter somewhere in Corinthians, but that's something maybe you can read daily just to get that in your mind. Commitment is safer and healthier when the person understands themselves and understands their patterns. And also look for people who are in healthy relationships. Whether it's on social media, even social media, you got to be careful with that, but social media, preferably in person, who, you know, people have like a biblically grounded, loving relationship. Look for examples like that and maybe ask them like, what got them there? Like, how are they staying together? Stuff like that. So look for biblically grounded relationships. And also, spend time being alone. A lot of times with commitment phobic women, they jump from one relationship to the other relationship to the other relationship, and they don't take the time to just be alone. Just be alone. And really just spend time with your Creator, spend time with the Father, spend time in His Word. You know, it says in the Bible, like, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. He really will renew your mind if you give Him the time and if and you're honest with Him. So just be honest. Just, you know, He should be our first marriage. He's our first love. Love Him, really love Him and His Son. You know, learn His Word, learn how His Son was on this earth. Try to emulate that as much as possible and just trust in Him. He's going to transform you because He's doing it to me. I see it. I want to have more of an understanding of what biblical love is and what a biblical marriage looks like, because if I were to ever get married again, I want to do it right this time, because now that I know that it's a covenant and I want to do it right, I want to be the best of myself for whoever my partner is. If I'm meant to have a partner in this world, maybe I'm meant to be single, and you know what? That's okay, and accept that too. So, hallelujah. So pretty soon I'm going to be opening 3 spots for beta membership for my mentorship program. My mentorship program is for both men and women, and it focuses on those who need to rebuild after loss and who feel like they have lost themselves. In my program, we are going to gain clarity. We are going to take small actionable steps that you can implement immediately. My program is 4 weeks long. It is 1 hour each session, so it will not take a lot of your time, and there's unlimited email support in between each session. So the goal of my mentorship is to build your confidence from the ground up. If that is something that you're interested in, I am taking 3 participants, serious inquiries only. Go ahead and email me with the word rebuild. The program will be launching soon. So again, if you're interested, I'm only taking 3 participants, and serious inquiries only. Email me with the word rebuild. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Shalom. All right, y'all. I know this was a little bit of a longer video, but I just want to end with this, that a lot of times with commitment phobia, especially in a woman, it's really not fear of marriage. It's really fear of losing control. And it's really fear of losing herself and her autonomy. A lot of times she needs to heal some wounds. It's a sign that personal growth and emotional reflection are needed. Mentorship, therapy, reading the Bible, praying to your Father, most importantly, be transformed by the renewing of the mind is something, it will help you, because I notice it is helping me a lot. And just having that alone time. So anyways, y'all, I don't know if this is something that women are comfortable sharing, but are you someone who is commitment phobic? And if you're comfortable, share in the comments down below. Anyways, y'all, I love y'all so much, and I hope you'll have a wonderful day, and I hope this video edified y'all. Shalom.